Welcome to Epicenter, the hub of innovation in the heart of Helsinki, where ideas come to life and creativity thrives, where innovation meets community. Get ready to learn, network, and make an impact. Let's go.
Are we pumped after that? Yeah? Hey. Let's give that video a little round of applause. That's pretty cool stuff, huh? No, come on, you gotta do better than that. I'm up here. I'm an American boy who needs to be fed with laughter and cheers. It's the only way I'll get through this today. Okay, we have a little bit of a tradition here at Epicenter, and when we're small and mighty like this, thank you all for coming in the rain, we take the first 10 seconds of each of our events and we clap. But we clap for you, not for me. Do you believe that? No, come on. All right, so first 10 seconds we'll clap for ourselves. You're here, you made it. We're gonna talk about some really cool things. So we're ready to do that? All right, go. 1, 2, 3, clap for yourselves. Come on. There we are. Got a whistle too. You're smiling. Breaking the ice. Okay. So as many of you know, and if you don't know, my name is Joey. I'm the community manager here at Epicenter Helsinki, and I'm really excited to see that you all made it in. Epicenter is a playground and a meeting arena where we bring the brightest minds together to share ideas, to network, and to grow. We support this by creating a physical space where networking, knowledging, and collaboration act as a platform for the acceleration of innovation and growth. Basically, all that means is that we're here, we're going to learn some things, we're going to get some drinks, we're going to have some food, we're going to network, and we're going to have a good time, right? Awesome. Okay, so gone are the days of manually recording and managing human resources data. Instead of keeping manual HR information records, HR software lets you digitally store and manage core HR functions, such as staffing and onboarding, payroll, benefit administrations, workforce managers, employee training. Well, let's go. Can you keep on going? And it's all about people, processes, and potential. And it is absolutely transforming the way we work. So tonight we've invited some of the brightest minds in the industry to share their insights, experience, and yes, even some of their war stories with you all today. So grab a drink if you don't have one, get some chips or popcorn, and let's get ready for a dynamic afternoon. Okay, and no surprise, I'm not finished. So we're all going to be on a first name basis, even though I probably could have gotten away with it today because there's only one finished last name on the panel. But shall we begin? Yes, come on. All right. So let's begin. Our first panelist has a professional background primarily focused on global IT recruiting in the SaaS and fintech field. Passionate about building strong relationships with stakeholders and prioritizing their well-being, she consistently creates an atmosphere of teamwork. She develops and implements new processes from scratch using modern technologies and firmly believes that fostering meaningful connections with both employees and management is crucial for the success of an HR department. So let's give a huge hand to Maria, People and Talent Acquisition Partner at AppFollow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
You can sit wherever you'd like. Okay, next, the person I'd like to invite on stage is a people operations professional with a passion for scaling HR and talent processes across fast-growing startups. She has helped startups like Videoly and Nordic-based clients build their people processes as they grow globally. Through her experiences, she has developed a deep understanding of how technology can help companies streamline their processes, improve employee experiences, and drive business outcomes. She is passionate about the role of technology in transforming HR and is excited to share her insights. So one huge round of applause for Shaylin, who's a people and talent at Bo. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Anyway, you'd like?
Around.
And last but not least, the last panelist has many years' experience working with startups and has held leadership roles in various industries, including leading both the external and in-house recruitment services. I did change it. Someone was looking at me like, what'd you do? And co-founding a mental well-being SaaS. Please welcome to the stage Demo, who's the CEO of Matcher.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you,
to be
sir.
here.
Thank you. Please. Okay, so since we read everyone's bio, we're going to kind of just jump right into the conversation. Are we okay with that?
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much all for being here today. I want to jump right into it. So several studies have shown that organizations investing in the right HR software have seen significant increase in productivity and employee engagement. So I want to ask this at the very beginning. What are some strategies organizations can use to identify and implement the right HR management software to meet the needs, their specific needs and goals?
First of all, I would like to say that the company should understand their budget for that.
Right off the bat.
After that, it really depends on the, how your business looks like. Do you already starting as a startup, or, but still, if you're the startup, firstly, I would guess you should have an idea in your mind that the new tool should be, quite well scalable, especially if you're, thinking about the hiring, thinking about that after you're researching all the market, especially, if we're talking about the Finnish market, you should carefully collect all the data. Also, I would probably go with the understanding the business needs, so timely have the discussion with your stakeholders about what their pain points, and also, last but not least, pay attention to actually what your HR team, if you already have an HR team, what they're busy are. So are they busy by the, some routine, asking the same question, answering for the same questions with the employees? This significantly show you that you should automate such process. If they are not busy with the routine, but various of different tasks, that everything is okay. So.
I see some head shaking. What would you recommend for what to look into when finding the right software solution?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like identifying like the pain points, and then finding tools that can really, you can showcase the benefits to management. But I think checking in with employees is really important as well, doing like workplace surveys and identifying if there are any like gaps currently that can also be fixed, or at least start to fix them using certain tools like training and development tools or performance evaluation tools.
Yeah, if I elaborate from there a bit, so understanding the needs, as Maria said, so what are the needs of people or the employees, what are the needs of business people, what are the needs of HR? So starting from there, and budget. That's a crucial point in choosing the right software. And then I would say as a third point to understand already where we're actually going from here. So preparing for the next stage, so either the scalability or you need to have different APIs. So depending where you are with your company or the organization where you're heading, so looking few steps ahead already. So actually making decisions today, what you need to have in place in 2 or 3 years. So that's basically the roadmap you need to take.
Okay. So, I mean, now that we've identified, we wanted to sort of have like an entry level question, right? Normally, I didn't want to go too hard, too fast. But now that we've identified some of the best solutions, where do we start? How do we integrate HR software tools to ensure a smooth transition? But actually, how do you get people to use it, right? What are some tips and tricks that we can use so that there's not just this dead software kind of sitting around?
Yeah, I'd say like researching, starting to look for different types of tools. They all can offer different solutions, and some of them can be more scalable than others. Like HRM systems can offer a lot more options for like planning people's time, or also with talent ATS systems. Some can also then help with onboarding, which is really great when you're scaling and you have many people onboarding at the same time. And creating a clear roadmap before you start the implementation is very important, and that you have somebody who's specifically in charge of like following through with that timeline. And making sure that you're involving different stakeholders, because I think that can be like a big mistake sometimes. Not having different types of roles involved in the implementation. Remote workers might have a different interaction with the tool than people in the office, so having different feedback can really help you prepare for that implementation and have the material prepared once it is live.
Yeah, and HR has a bit of a tradition to make decisions by themselves in a silo within HR, at least this is my experience. So getting out of that silo, I think that's the most critical point. Already when you're starting the sort of sourcing the different solutions or different softwares, take the employees with you, as Shailene said. So take the employees or other stakeholders as well in order to do the analysis, run the demos or see the demos, get the feedback. How would you see this sort of, if we would take this into use in our organization, would you actually use it, or what kind of feedback would you have? And then I think after the decision, I think it comes to the key point as is same in the leadership, communication on all levels, so it's not that tricky in a way.
Yeah, communication, and I would like to highlight about how it is important to let the people know the goal of the implementation, because I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't really like to switch from one tool to another, and especially when I don't get the business needs, when I don't get that, okay, this tool will save us a lot of money. And it's actually represented by one of our, transition from one payroll system to another. And yeah, before we started to, just an open communication about the main reason why we switched to this payroll system. Engineers, I forgot to mention it here, but I mainly worked with the engineers. They were, quite skeptical about it. So, and also the idea that I noticed from my colleague, it's she brings not only the new tools. She's first of all, she's a strong project manager, and once we implemented the new payroll system, I just saw the straightforward plan about how, when, and million answers for the questions that our employees already probably will ask. So we already challenged our provider for that, and only after that we implemented it. And even before we implemented it, we started with a sort of the pilot version just for us, just testing to make sure that this tool are working well for us, if we understand everything here or not. And also, I had one more thing, but I just forget it. So yeah, to have the strong project manager who fully understand what and why we should implement new tools, and yeah, make sure that this tool are scalable. Because, okay, today we have just 20 employees, but what if we will have 1,000 employees? It's always stress for the people to switching from one tool to another. And yeah, some of the tools are also might be have some special settings for specifically for your business, because as more as you can use this tool, as more you will highlight that, okay, this one I would go with in the different way. And we need to be sure, and for example, when we implemented our ATS tools, we had a lot of discussions and even specific settings directly for our business needs.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like in order to get Avner aboard is that we have to start with leadership, right? Get leadership involved, and then openness so that everyone is part of the process along the way. But there are perks, right, of having this, and automation is definitely one of them, right? It's one of the biggest perks of implementing a reliable HR management software, and can reduce time spent on HR administrative tasks by up to 40%. I read a Deloitte report that found that 56% of organizations are redesigning their HR programs to leverage digital and mobile tools. So I asked, how can HR management software help streamline critical processes such as recruitment, onboarding, performance management, payroll, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I'd say for like an example would be the role I'm currently in, dealing with the people and HR side, but also the talent side. It can be tricky to really allot my time, but with technology, I'm able to automate a lot of the small tasks that I have on a daily basis, so that I can really stay on the pulse of our work culture and have those relationships with the employees and with management. With talent, it's allowed me to really stay on top of the full pipeline and make sure that communication isn't falling through the cracks as well. So candidates are having a good experience, and this really affects the full employee life cycle, that from the recruitment process, people have had a great experience, and that HR has also the time to have other initiatives other than just the payroll and those sort of time off and vacations that are so complicated in Finland.
And I think it all starts from the data perspective, whether you have a coherent data, you have up-to-date data in all of the systems. So I think I would basically start from the putting together the HRIS system so that you actually have all the data for the admin side, for the payroll side, and then start leveraging from there, automating, as Shailene said. The recruitment side is you can basically automate the screening, you can basically automate the communication, all the sort of talent matching, the evaluation of the candidates, even the emails back and forth, also the references. So basically you can run the recruitment side. Well, the sourcing is always a bit trickier, but then we discussed before we started that everybody's facing challenges with sourcing. So if anybody has good ideas for automating that side, I think there's a lot of interested people here. And then from the other side, you're going to automate sort of the pulse surveys or the engagement surveys, getting feedback or peer feedback for the people as well, which will also increase then the employee engagement side and have a huge impact on the well-being. So you can basically run automated HR from the pulse, understanding how people are doing, what kind of feedback they are giving each other, what kind of networks there are, also what kind of teams there are, or how can you actually develop the teams and so forth. And as said, but start with the data and the core of the HRIS system and build from there. Depends what you need. As said, different companies, different industry, different situations, so you have different needs.
Yeah. Fully agree with you regarding the data. Data is all for us.
We're going to have a whole section on data. So don't get too far ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But
No.
just for probably illustrate what you just told, we have our monthly reports, and we're actually keeping in our mind data regarding, okay, so what is our attrition rate? What is the average age in the company, how many women we should hire in the engineering, the most challenging one. And also, we got a lot of insights based on that. And we even can notice in which team we have, high churn, and make a decision based on that. And also regarding the recruitment, I'm full in love with our ATS tool, because you really can just collect you can upload automatically all 1,000 resume in one place, then just pressing one button, and it's automatically started the campaign with several emails and follow-ups, and you just do nothing. Not nothing, okay, you just spent whole week for the sourcing, but still, it's helped us a lot.
Yeah. So that sounds like a practical example of how HR process automation have successfully been implemented. Can you share other ways that of successful implementations of automation that have sort of helped, and what are kind of key benefits of that?
I think with the onboarding, that's been a big one as well. Making sure that everybody has equal onboarding and that they have all the information they need to be successful in their roles. That internal information has been communicated. They have access to all of the internal information. That's been very important, especially in startups. Things can be chaotic and things can get missed, and schedules can be quite busy. So having a system in place where you can follow that employee's onboarding in those first few months and your check-in points has been very valuable.
Yeah, I think two quick examples. So from my past SaaS company for the mental well-being, so that was basically automating, as said, the whole pulse survey and individual feedback and the organizational reporting. So you don't need to spend any time or manual work on analyzing where we actually have some challenges in the organization. And I think I would also challenge a bit the way we recruit today. So what we do, for example, what we did when we was recruiting salespeople. So we actually used for screening as well some automated psychology assessments as well. So instead of checking the CVs and so forth, so we actually automated the full screening part using just assessments there. So there are some means to cover that side as well. So.
And do you, sorry, may I ask you if you automate the screening process?
Yeah.
Wow.
Through the work psychology assessments. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm still, just thinking about this approach because, yeah, in one hand, it's definitely will save us a lot of time. On the other hand, some people might be, not fully satisfied with talking with the, answering for the questions from the video. It might be applicable if you have the, the fancy role where you have a lot of candidates for applying, sort of junior, for example. But if we're talking about the places, industries where it's mainly the candidates market, and we spend a lot of time to attract this or that engineer to follow up every 6 months. And then he faced not with a person, but with some kind of video or some kind of test. They, might be frustrating, but I would happy probably today after our discussion to see what the funnel, how many candidates are just rejecting when you try to offer them this approach. Because it's quite interesting.
Has anyone been able to find the sort of secret sauce for implementing this with hybrid employees, those who don't spend that much time in the office, and because I mean that's a conversation that we sort of seem to keep happening.
I think what you said, communication, like already having material prepared when you are going to go live with a tool is very important, and looking at it from their aspect, how this will affect their workflows and how this is integrating into their day-to-day work, having videos, having material for them to read, and having training sessions also if needed, and then definitely getting managers on board because they have a closer relationship. They're generally the best advocates for new tools and good support for the team.
Cool. I want to shift to data because I think that is where we're going to go here. But so when we shift, I want to talk both about inherent fears, but also possibilities that exist when companies leverage data to make more informed decisions. So HR professionals often spend their workdays identifying new strategies and improving workplaces and employees' experiences, but they need accurate insight and data to determine whether their efforts work and how to implement efficient policies. So according to Forbes, 70% of high-performing organizations use data analytics in their HR processes, compared to only 30% of lower-performing organizations. So clearly, this is working. So how can HR management software be leveraged to utilize data and analytics effectively for better decision-making? And while you're answering this, if you could also share specific examples of how good data has influenced strategic HR decisions in your organizations, both past and present. Loaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Loaded, yeah.
Just a small question. Where should I start?
I could probably go with the example, not our company, but company of my friends. It's one of the biggest outsource company, around 20,000 employees. So they basically built their own HR tool, which cover all their parts of the HR. And they even built the prediction model for that. So if you're, for example, your hiring managers receive some notifications. For example, this person didn't take the vacation during 1 year. Probably there are some risk of burnout. Or they also comparing these analytics from the salaries in the market and send you a notification when it's when it feels like it's a high risk to lose this person. So I suggest that it's best example about how the tools are actually could help us, but we shouldn't forget that we shouldn't rely, especially again, if we're average company, not 20,000 employees. We should also communicate with the people, because just in case in your company, when the people fill out this 360, and especially if it's fully related with salary raise, they are just scoring like 5 for every of those peers in order to give them, salary increase and all of this stuff. Or, there is millions reasons why the people can react for your surveys or for some kind of, forms positively. But in reality, when you're talking with the people, you could identify that their main motivation why they do this. Again, if you're an average company, sometimes and it's actually the favorite part of my job, to go to the people and check with them directly about what does they mean, what does they feel, and what risks do they see for their specific team.
Maybe I'll continue where I got started from the siloed HR. So maybe this gets back to the data as well. So quite often in my experience, HR is only looking after the HR data. Churn, what was the sort of through rate of our recruitment process and so forth. But really HR to be like credible player in the management team, you need to sort of complement the HR data with business-related financials data, sales data. Start understanding the cross references there. For example, if you would implement a new system, what's the ROI, or what's the impact, or what's the benefit actually for the business results? So I think this is the core for us as HR people or people working in HR domain, that we actually start looking outside the HR domain and understand that HR is, if we want to be as key players in the management team or C-level, C-suite, we need to understand the full business and take all the business data complement with the HR data as well. And I think some examples where what I faced is, for example, analyzing management teams, for example, understanding the team work or team compositions or people's potential. So utilizing analytics or data there. So basically the companies have decided to switch the CEOs, for example. That we have a CEO who might be not really sort of benefiting for the whole management team and so forth, or he or she doesn't have the potential really to fulfill the role and so forth. So this is what you can actually do when you have good analytics or good data of people and the teams.
Yeah, Shay?
Yeah, I think like with HR tools, quite often I focus on the company strategy because the like impact is really seen like with the integration to the business and the people management processes rather than like return on investment. So really focusing on like the strategy and where we're going has been like the most beneficial in those conversations with management.
From the strategy, and may I add, if you don't mind, you also should make a decision based on your core values. If you don't have any core values written down, or you have, but you don't fully, I don't know, go through them, you still have it. It doesn't mean if you don't promote it, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. So basically, core values and how do your leadership team react, what based on what they're making this or that decision. And based on that, you can rely or don't rely on the data. Because, for example, if we're talking about the real feedback for the CEO of your company, which your employees are actually feeling, even if it's anonymous, it's still in this case there should be the very high level of the transparency and very transparency, friendly communication, and people should feel safety in this place to share their opinion.
Well, that leads us to our next thing, right? How do we create safety? So as HR management software increasingly collects, stores, and analyzes employee data, several fears have emerged, from leaked performance feedbacks, salaries, overall personal well-being, data privacy in the workspace has become a paramount concern, right? I think that we can kind of agree. So how should organizations navigate the balance between leveraging HR data for improved decision-making and also ensuring data privacy protections? And we can kind of, in the interest of time, sort of compound this with, so what's the balance? How do we strike that balance? But what features should they look for, in a management tool? And more specifically, who should be responsible for that? who should have access to that information?
It's a big role to play, but it's definitely very important. I think it's like a main concern that employees have is the security of their information and who has access to it. When it comes to HR tools, I think looking for ones where you have the ability to create different types of roles and really clear access rights is very important. And creating that group of people who have access as small as possible, and having a dedicated people in charge of the administration of those tools so that they can ensure that access rights are correct at all times. And then, if people offboard, that also access has been taken away. So having somebody specifically in charge of that is very important. And transparency, making it clear to everybody who has access to your information at what points, if management has access to certain information, just making that clear so they can feel safe and informed.
And if I add to that, so especially if you're looking at well-being data or any other similar data, so it should be built on my data principles. So basically the employees own and they choose what and in a way to whom they actually are sharing. So they always should have the possibility either share it anonymously or then share it with name. And if they decide that I don't want to share this anymore, even I'm still employed, so they should have the possibility. So that's one way, sort of to add to the user rights you mentioned already. So.
I would try to very quickly. So first of all, I delegate their
quickly. First of all,
sorry. So I personally I really like the tools that we have, and I think that almost all tools, all HR tools that I will knowing are already, took care about it. So you're most likely will receive the tool with some, specific forms about the salary expectations, for example. And these companies are already take care about the data protection. And you also should, again, it comes from the leadership team, and we as a HR, we could promote, we could support, but mainly it's a leadership team who are actually set the norms and of ethics and bring the culture where you don't share any personal sensitive information with each other. So, and yeah, based on that, it's quite easy to, and yeah, last but not least, it's also really important to have advisor or, you know, that someone from the legal, who could help you just in case, at least to consult with them about what kind of data we could share as a company and what we can't.
And as a CEO, just a reminder for HR people, let's remember who will be then in the court if something goes wrong.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, so what I'm hearing though is that we should limit access, right, to who has this information, and ensure from a leadership standpoint that information is secure and hopefully doesn't be used against you or leaked in any way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This was good, huh? Oh, wow. Okay. So we're going to open it up to the audience because 30 minutes goes really quickly, and we've already been chatting for 30 minutes. We have some brilliant minds up here, so I know that there must be questions. And we're in a safe space, so please ask away. And there'll be a microphone for you.
Hi, I'm Ava. Sorry, I came late. I got lost. No excuse. I'm actually a startup founder and I do employee engagement. So sorry if this has been talked about before I actually arrived, but my question is, so how do because I don't have an HR background. I have a communications and marketing background, which I did corporate, media, etc. So how do HR receive like employee engagement support from externals? Like what are the criteria that like basically products and services are measured up against that contributes to the decision whether they're going to pilot?
I guess I would say like the tailoring, like if it's able to tailor specifically to my industry, some of the pain points that we've been experiencing, that's really important in the decision making, because a lot of the time there are like these templates that some of the employee engagement companies will use, and they don't always reflect your internal processes, especially if you're trying to do things maybe differently or have different values. So being able to tailor them more would be definitely a big player in the decision.
Right. So if it's flexible and customizable,
Yeah.
how about like, would love to hear from
I would
others.
disagree on that.
Okay.
Especially if you're making some decisions. If you start tailoring, customizing, how do you know that the data or this sort of analysis is valid? Like scientifically valid. So there are also some...
So you would suggest something more templated and curated, something tested to work. That's your
Yeah, I would start looking
suggestion.
into the solutions or options that have really studied or researched like scientifically, at least some level. They have really studied the impact and they know what they're actually doing, since I think there's like two different categories. The other one is the full customization. And I understand there's a need for that as well, but I'm more in favor, well, I'm a bit of a science geek anyway, so I'm always leaning more on scientifically based facts, especially in decision making as well. So I would start looking from that category.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do we have another question? Come on, of course we do. There we go.
And Joe, we managed. We didn't agree with all that.
I know.
Hello.
I was hoping for that.
I'm Hannah. I'm a people manager for Napa Group, which is a maritime software company. And I'm wondering, what if the pain points that are experienced are mostly within the HR team and the work the team does as opposed to the organization? How could we make the organization and the leadership see the motivation for the change in our tools?
Highlight them, their pain points, show them where basically the business more rely on the data and exact numbers. So, for example, in case if your teammates in HR are spending half of their day not only their, interesting, challenging tasks, but some, I don't know, minor routine which can be easily automized, you can highlight it. You can just show them, okay, so we hired this specialist, but she or he's spending a lot of time specifically for some kind of things that we could invest a bit and then automized. So business sometimes are not ready for the big changes, but if you constantly will highlight them, the pain points that your company feel, also bring them some examples, probably from your experience, from the market, from the HR community, like, okay, if you are not moving with this brand new solution, we will lose this amount of money, we will lose this number of people or something like that. Yeah. So I would probably go with this approach, and it's probably it's almost any time requires several iterations with the business.
Yeah, the Finnish short version of that, calculate the euros.
Yeah. Money talks.
Yeah, money talks. Yeah. Whether we like it or not, but anyways, in decision making, that's how it is. Just calculate the investment, calculate the impact, the return on investment for that, then that will be easier to talk with the business people.
So we have time for one more. One more? Okay. Hey. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's give them a huge, huge round of applause. I'm going to talk a little bit more on stage, but thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
thank you.
Okay. How was that? How do we feel?
Tired.
Okay, so a big thank you to our panelists, Maria, Shaylin, and Temo, for sharing their invaluable insights and experiences. Today, we delved into identifying the right software solutions, streamlining HR processes through automation, and the vital role of data and analytics in decision-making. We also touched on the crucial aspect of data privacy, reminding us that as we embrace the future of HR technology, we must also prioritize the safety and privacy of our employees' data. As I mentioned at the beginning of the day, we are a community and a playground for local change makers to come together, to share ideas, and to grow. So there's always something going on at Epicenter. In fact, there's something going on once a week here. And so if you give me a few more seconds, I'll talk about 2 more events that we have for the month of May. Right behind me, we're going to welcome you back into the metaverse. This is actually the 5th event in this series. This time we're exploring marketing in the metaverse. Our esteemed keynote speaker, Chris Brown, oof, that's my ex-boyfriend from like 10 years ago, a blast from the past. Colin Brown will unravel the challenges and opportunities that lie within the 3 dominant meta galaxies. That's Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite, boasting tens of millions of users. So come learn strategies, trends, and innovations that will shape the future of marketing. On May 29th, Tech is back. This time we're exploring Industry 4.0. So join us for an invigorating exploration into the transformative world of Industry 4.0. This event is going to delve into the concept of convergent reality, which is a cornerstone of the 4th Industrial Revolution that is revolutionizing various sectors, most notably the automotive industry. So thank you all so much for being here today and for smiling when I needed a smile and for asking great questions. It's super helpful. The bar is open, so please drink, stay, network. Soon there's going to be past tapas. They're just waiting for me to get off the stage. So if your tumbly is a little rumbly, there'll be some snacks. So please, one more huge round of applause for our speakers. As a huge round of applause for yourself, please stay and enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you.